Another day, another mission. We've got a whole lot of little things. Well, actually, they're big things. We've got a whole lot of things to finish today. So it's going to be kind of one thing after the other. Step one is to get that new old acquisition off the trailer. We really should have started the video yesterday, because the first question is, how in the world did we manage to get this particular combination of things loaded on the trailer? If you'll notice, there is zero wiggle room. That is touching. In fact, we scraped the trailer a little bit, the paint of the trailer, to get it in there. And we didn't have the other tool cat with us. We didn't have Bob. So we drove that up on there. And it is just as tight as it can be. Probably a little tighter than it should be. But we did manage to drive it all home. It's quite the trick. This is how we did it. We had the ramps down. We had the Cub Cadet chained to the tool cat. We drove them both up the trailer and lifted the front cutter up above the stinger of the trailer and drove it all the way forward until we could get the ramps up. When we put the ramps up, we unchained the Cub Cadet, pushed it backwards by hand, and then backed up the tool cat and brought the first cutter back down. Worked like a charm. Now we've got to undo it all. The story with this critter is that it belonged to a friend who's moving. Didn't want to bother taking it with him. Plus, it's got a bad transmission and needs a bunch of work before it's functional again. So we purchased it, and Eric's plan for a rainy day is to order parts and see if we can get it back being a functional, useful little machine around the farm. That'll be a fun little Will It Run video on down the line sometime. So we're zipping along, headed into the pile of compost to pick it up, and Eric goes, "Ah!" and stops suddenly. What the heck? Well, my knife that he made for me, how long ago was that?
20 years ago.
Anyway, my knife went missing when somebody was doing chores for us. We assumed, it had gotten fed to a horse or something. Well, turns out it had ended up in the manure pile, and we found it, which is amazing. One of the things we need to finish up today is putting the good soil back on top of the less good soil and putting grass seed down in hopes that the storms that are supposed to come through will water the grass and make the grass grow. I have been diligently spreading all this stuff by hand, which you guys saw in the last video. And I knew there was probably a better way to do it. Turns out if you're good, you can use the tool cat. I'm not good, but Eric is.
There's still going to be some hand doing here, but this saves some.
All of that was a lot of hand raking. This is better. stored these back here. They were spare.
What?
I'm talking to my camera.
Oh.
But now we want to use them to spread out the dirt. panel is to put it behind the tool cat and drag it around in the dirt and kind of take the high spots to the low spots, crumple up the clods of dirt. Just kind of, instead of hand raking, we're going to use that as a rake, a makeshift rake, pull behind the tool cat. Off of the telephone poles. Ugh. Now we're going to place them. Just takes some careful piloting. So stick it out a ways.
Now we just need a careful pilot.
Well, better you than me. This is what you call a wide load and a heavy load. How much do you think that boat weighs?
I don't know. We got to be getting close to 800 pounds. Oh, that's heavy.
It's stout. Up the hill. Oh my goodness.
We only scraped a little bit. Okay, where'd you want this to go?
How about at a right angle to the one that you already placed?
All the way down at the far end?
Yeah. I said I was going to have to hop out and move the hay ring because it's in the way. So Eric's playing ring around the telephone pole.
Now the trick is getting back out from inside of it.
With that.
It's okay, we can always bend the hay ring.
Let's not do that. They're expensive. Twitter cam for the day is Gremlin inspecting our placement of the telephone poles. He says, "What did you do to my field?" They're poles, Gremlin. This is a dizzy warning. You get dizzy easily. Close your eyes for the next few seconds.
And we're making another left turn. This is just like NASCAR.
Wait more time.
And you make right turns.
I think it's left turns.
Make left turns. Okay. We'll make right turns. Make us different. Yeah, that was close. Or a barrel? That's what I meant.
Really pleased at how our homemade drag worked, because this looks just absolutely awesome. And we were able to do both things because we got rid of the telephone poles. And so now it's time to plant some grass seed. It just occurred to me we actually have like a seed spreader thrower thingy. I'll go get that. We've returned to work smarter, not harder. This will do a better job anyway. It'll be more evenly spread. Bob Kitty through the Tool Cat Thoroughfare to go test out mowing with the PCO instead of with the, is it a hydraulic brush cutter that goes on the front? Yeah. Okay. Doesn't look like much, but this is quite the little journey. decided to do just a little bit more, which was a mistake, because then I got overexcited and I threw the butt end of the mower right into the fence. Now we get to repair fence because I broke the fence. Oh joy, bah humbug. Now instead of going back to the house triumphantly being able to say, look what I got accomplished, I get to go back to the house with my tail between my legs and say, guess what we get to do next? Now we get to fix fence. Oh boy. I hate it when I do that to myself, but it happens. Came down to the tack room and feed room to unplug the fencer before I fixed the fence and discovered that Eric fixed my knife, or refurbished my knife, cleaned the 1.5 years of corrosion off of it. I'm so happy to have it back. Thank you. Ta-da! Fence is fixed. Thanks to muscles.
We shouldn't have had to fix fence.
No, we shouldn't have had to fix fence. Ran out of grass seed. Went to the store. Got more. This time we're actually going to read the directions, which is nice because it tells us what to put our spreader setting on. So 12.5, which is where we are. We're going to load up and we're going to spread some more. Putting my newly excavated knife to work. Put that back in my pocket so we don't lose it again. And just like that, $60 scattered in the dirt. Our final mission, and on what has been a whirlwind race against the rain, get as much done as possible week, is to sand the drywall that I mudded up here in the hallway, and in the bathroom and everywhere I needed to. Anyway, sand it, see if it needs a second coat, and then get some paint on the wall. I got to run into town and get new paint earlier, so we're gonna see how the sanding process goes. Now would probably be a pretty good time to mention, I have no idea what I'm doing, so I got a couple of general purpose. Well, apparently I managed not to read, because I thought I got a couple of general purpose sanding blocks and a couple of fine sanding blocks, but what I got was 2 packs of general purpose fine sanding blocks. Hopefully fine is what I want. It seems to work pretty well. I'm starting with this because it gets hidden behind the baseboards for the most part. I think it looks okay. We'll take you in for a closer look. I am definitely not an expert, but that looks pretty good, at least compared to where I haven't sanded yet. So I think we're on the right track. We'll continue. After discovering how easy it was to sand the drywall mud, I got a little carried away And I started to patch every little ding or bump that I could find on the wall. So lots more sanding to come. I also put on the first coat of paint and it matches beautifully. Thank you, the folks at Sherwin-Williams. You did an awesome job. Yeah, I mean, you can't tell where one started and one ended. It looks like I probably need to put a second coat on where we primed and put the new drywall, but it's looking good. We're making progress. For those of you watching solely for a full update, we're still waiting. Mare is cranky. There's been a lot of activity by the baby the last several days. And just kind of getting tired of him jumping around in there. I resorted to bribery, getting copious amounts of hay. Yes, her stall is bedded. It's just bedded on one side because she's a pig. When she says she's ready to foal, we'll bed further. But she's kind of getting tired of being pregnant. I'm getting tired of her being pregnant too. After being stalled out for weeks, we're finally getting closer. I hope. Do you hear that? It's finally raining. It's the most wonderful sound. Horses are snuggled inside, out of the weather. The grass is getting rained on, or the soon-to-be grass, hopefully, is getting rained on. Wonderful. And with the glorious sound of the rain in the background, we want to say thanks for watching. Feel free to subscribe, share it with your friends. We'll see you next time.